In today's video, I'll share with you how I decided on the good old, do I want to be a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant debacle question. And I'll offer you some tips if you're navigating this decision yourself. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Liz, and huge spoiler alert, guys. I'm a family nurse practitioner, but I want to be super clear that I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer here at all. But there likely is a more right answer for you. See what I did there, nursing school friends? This one's more right. Stupid. A reason to go to PA school in itself. Unless they have those questions. I don't really know. And I just want to say real quick before we start, if you haven't seen my video on the differences between a nurse practitioner and a physician assistant, after this one, you might want to go check that out. It just kind of lays out how the schooling's different and how the roles are similar and different and kind of breaks that all down for you. I'll leave a link for it below. Okay, so like I said, I obviously chose the path to become a nurse practitioner because that's what kind of suited my path the best. I knew from the get-go my setting and my location. I knew I wanted to work in primary care and I wanted to work in family medicine. And I'm honestly fairly confident that that's where I want to be for the rest of my career, which is crazy, I know. As we talked about in that previous video, NP school is very population and setting specific. And since I knew my population and my setting, NP school appealed to me because I wanted all of my training to be in that specific field. I wanted all my hours of clinicals to go towards that. I wanted all my education to be driven towards that patient population in that setting. But you may not know where you want to work for the rest of your life, and that's totally fine. So if you're deciding this for yourself, a good place to start when you're thinking about all this is ask if you know the setting you want to work in. Because in that case, maybe an NP role would be well fit for you. You could do acute care peds, you could do primary care adult gero, whatever it is that you already know you love. Or maybe you know you absolutely love the OR. Now, not that nurse practitioners can't work in the OR. I've had some people message me and be like, I've seen them. It's much more common for PAs to work in the OR. So if you know that's your goal and your role and where you want to be, maybe consider that as a path, as you will rotate through that in PA school. PA school and clinical dabbles you in a little bit of everything, allowing you to work in a vast number of areas once you graduate and are certified. So for all of my, I'm not quite sure where my path is going friends, PA school may be a really great fit for you. But do keep in mind that even though you have more hours in your specialty when you go through an NP program, you are limited when you graduate. If you are an adult gero nurse practitioner, humans under the age of 13, you can't touch them. If you're a women's health nurse practitioner, dudes are not going to be in your scope of practice. Whereas with a PA, those limitations aren't there. They can take care of anybody in all settings. Okay, so that's the first reason I kind of chose, and maybe a good spot for you to start thinking about it. Now let's look at the second reason I chose to go the NP route, and that's because I really did like nursing. I liked my nursing bedside job. I liked the whole vibe of it, and I honestly could see myself one day teaching either like a clinical or some kind of education role in the nursing field. And getting my master's degree would allow me to go back and then teach at one level below where I obtained my degree. So I could teach in a BSN program. Whereas if I had gone to PA school, I might not have been able to do that quite as easily. And that, my friends, is pretty much it. I did want to discuss though a few myths really quick that are floating around out there that I thought we could address in this video while you're sitting there contemplating which path you might want to take. Myth number one, I'm a nurse, therefore I must go to NP school. No friends, just no. The nursing gods will not forsake you if you go to PA school. You're not letting anyone down. You're not turning your back on nursing. I hear this all the time. And friends, no, it's okay. You can go to PA school. It'll be fine. If you want the flexibility of a more open door degree, PA might be perfect for you. Yay, hooray, good job. Myth number two, one is better than the other. Again, friends, just false. They are different, they are similar, they can play nicely, they can be friends. It's fine. I feel like there's a lot of animosity on the internet, especially against like PA versus NP, and wouldn't it just be lovely if we both just joined together and worked together to promote advanced practice professionals as a whole, rather than squabbling about who has prettier letters after their name? Just a thought. Myth number three, nurse practitioners cannot work in specialties. They can and they do. Some of my very good friends are out there working in derm, cardiology, nephrology, all the specialties. So yes, they can. You absolutely can work in a specialty if you're a nurse practitioner. Myth number four, physician assistants can't work in family medicine or OBGYN. Again, So false. They do rotations in each of those, just like they do rotations in everything else. True, there do seem to be sometimes fewer PAs in those specialties, but that in no way means that they can't go into them. I've worked with some phenomenal PAs in my time in family medicine and OBGYN, so it's just false. And finally, myth 5, the medical model or nursing model is so much better than the other one. Guys, let's just clear this up. PAs also learn to look at the human as a whole. They have awareness of culture and how that affects their lives of their patients and all the other socioeconomic factors that affect their care. And shocker, nurse practitioners practice evidence-based medicine and have an in-depth knowledge of pathophysiology and anatomy. I personally think over the years, the models are kind of merging a little bit, and that's wonderful. So one over the other, my personal opinion is that whole model thing is kind of just a muddled mess now. Neither one is better than the other. Like I said, they're just different, and that's nice. Different is good, friends. Remember, different is good. All right, so how are you going to pick if you're sitting here trying to decide between the two? 1, do you know your target population? Makes it sound so like you're about to go attack them, but you know what I mean. If yes, maybe consider being a nurse practitioner, since all of your training will be geared towards that specific subset of the population. If not, go check out the PA Life. 2, are you a nurse? If yes, awesome. You are able to apply for either. You have your RN, which is the requirement to become a nurse practitioner, and you've probably worked already some hours, or you have the option to go work some hours, which would get you your patient care hours to apply to PA school. So either way, you're done. And if you don't have your RN, then hey, maybe go consider PA school. If your goal is to be a provider, then why don't you just go and be a provider? There. Rather than making the pit stop as a nurse, but then not really working as a nurse, which I think is really helpful to be an NP, so, and that's a whole different tangent. But if your goal is to be a provider and you're not a nurse, then why don't you, then I would probably go be a PA. The extra clinical hours, if you haven't had nursing experience, will probably be helpful that you get in PA school. Number 3, do you want to be in the OR or to do all the procedures? Now, like I said earlier, some NPs do work in the OR, but the OR is much more dominated by the PAs. And NPs absolutely do and can learn procedures, but they learn them in their scope, whereas PAs learn like all the procedures. So if you're a hands-on person, you want to slice things, that might work for you. But again, you can learn to slice things. I learned to slice things as an NP, and I choose not to usually, but some of my friends like to slice things, and they do. Sometimes you just have to learn, go to some more workshops as a nurse practitioner, I think, to learn some of those more skills. You know, we learned like suturing, IND, basic stuff, but if you want to learn, you know, the hardcore derm, all those, you know, I don't even know because that's not what I do, but there's workshops, they'll help you. And the 4th thing to think about is, do you want to teach? This is mostly for nurses. With your NP, most schools will let you teach like one academic level lower than your degree. So you could go back and teach in a BSN program or an ADN program. PAs obviously can go back and teach as well, but the process isn't quite as seamless, I don't think. All right, that pretty much wraps things up. And I just want to say, whatever you choose, it's a great choice. You will develop and learn for years and probably decades after school is done. So don't honestly stress like wild amounts over picking the perfect path, or it's doom if you don't pick the exactly perfect one. It's really what comes after your formal education and the education you continue to cultivate through your path that actually matters in real life. And I hope this video gave you an idea of kind of how to navigate the whole, do I want to be an NP or a PA conundrum that comes when you're like, maybe I want to be a healthcare provider, and that rabbit hole that ensues after that. And if you guys want to see more videos about nurse practitioner things, nurse things, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you. Also check out my Instagram where I post fun updates of what I see in my FNP practice throughout the week. Question of the day. Which one are you considering? I obviously already considered and chose, so I'm interested to hear what you guys are thinking. Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.